A little bit behind here. The reason tonight is we're seeing the state took a little bit longer to go and update their numbers. So we got it all captured. The numbers at the bottom on the ticker some of them might be a little behind, because what we wanted to do is we wanted to show you what the numbers were before we even update the ticker. So let's go ahead and move to the first screen. So some of the things I just wanted to talk about here on the first screen. Let's move to the first screen. And there we go. So if you have a question, we did have some questions that came through. One of them was about Mark Moser and Alex Padilla. What will happen is that the two of them will have a runoff at the end of this year at this point here, because it's pretty obvious that's going to happen. So they will be both on the November election for the Senate seat for full term. Now, let's go ahead and get into some other things. If you have any questions, social media at ciso.com is a great way to reach us. We had a couple other questions that came through. One of the other ones is about how the races, how these races work, which ones actually go to November. Now, they're county races. If they're 50% plus one, those are actually done. All the rest of the races, it takes two. The top two actually go to the November election. So if you haven't subscribe to us, go ahead and get onto YouTube, type subscribe and hit the bell so that we can, at least you'll get an update when things actually happen. On Facebook, please, follow us on Mojave River Valley News. And so we just want to keep you in contact with things we're doing, because we're doing all kinds of stuff. Let's go ahead and go to the next screen here. Let's talk about actually some numbers here. So we've been able to make some calls. And the reason we're able to make some of these calls here is not because of what the media is doing. We're actually trying to look at it ourselves, compare it to what the media is doing, and say, all right, are these races we can call? Well, we're pretty solid that we think the trending, that Derek Marshall and Jay Obernolte will have the runoff in November this year. Blanca Gomez is not trending far enough along to get there. It could have turned around, maybe, but I really doubt it at this point here. So in the fall, it will have, excuse me, Jay Obernolte, Derek Marshall will be running for the congressional 23rd seat. Let's go ahead and go to the next screen. So on the next one here, this is Congressional District 28. Now remember, this only affects part of the Phelan folks and for the Wrightwood folks. So this one here would be, this one here is going to be Judy True and Wes Hallman will be running off in November. Let's go and do the next slide here. So this one here, this is Assembly Race number 34. This is one we've been talking about all night long. One of the things we knew that Rita Ramirez would probably go ahead and take the Democratic seat on this. The problem was you had two Republicans that are going head to head at each other, and it's really sad that this happened to happen in this redistricting, but what it is what it is now. Those days are gone. So we're still too close. Now what's happening here is Smitty is slowly creeping in, because LA County, for some reason, I don't know how it works, their votes come through much quicker than ours, and I don't know if they have some different kind of electronic system or whatever. San Bernardino County, we're a little bit more old school here, where the ballots actually get loaded in a car and they get driven on in. So, because remember that San Bernardino County is very vast. Now, somebody did make a comment. They thought that LA County had a separate counting place in different areas in the county, so they're able to bring the data together quicker. I'm not sure if that's true. That's something maybe we'll have to look in the future, but it doesn't have anything to do with us. We have one place where it's counted, and it's counted down on Rialto Avenue down in San Bernardino. That's where all the ballots come to this one place. So right now at this point here, it's Rita Ramirez. We know that she will be on the ballot in November, but the question still is, will it be Tom Lackey or Smitty Smith? This is going to be interesting here. If I were to make a call on this, which is way too early to make at this time here, I'm going to say that probably Smitty's going to overtake Tom. And the reason is because only 20% of the votes in San Bernardino County are already in, where it looks like 100% of them that are in LA County. Now, that doesn't mean there's more provisionals and all this other stuff. It'll take a week or two or so to actually go. Matter of fact, I think the certification date is sometime in July. So it's way, way down the road. So a lot of these ballots will take a little while just to get counted. Let's go ahead and go to the next screen here. So this is Assembly Race number 39. Now we've talked about this one a little bit. This is, remember, that district that's in between, where District 34 wraps completely around it. So this one here, we know for sure, we're pretty solid at this point here that it's going to be, Paul Marsh, and it's going to be Juan Carrillo. So that's pretty solid. We know that those two are going to be on the November ballot. The rest of it's just not going to happen, because the other votes from the other folks over there are already been pretty much counted. The only ones that probably we'll see happen through the evening here is Paul Marsh's numbers will probably even even go away from Juan's numbers quite a bit. So, which will give us a bit of an indicator what it's going to look like this fall, because when you start adding up the votes with Juan with 5,200, with Steve with 1.3, and then Andrea with 3.4, and you add all those up, that's way bigger than what Paul Marsh's numbers are. So there's a lot of numbers that are not here yet. That a lot of the ballots have not been counted. They have come in. We'll see a huge jump at 2 o'clock, and we're planning. Our plan is to give you a 2 o'clock update. Now, in this 2 o'clock update, we're going to kind of plan ahead on it here. We're going to go ahead and give possibly the 15 minutes to a half an hour after 2 o'clock, so that we get some times to make sure the state numbers, so we're not coming on and you're expecting going, oh my gosh, where are they? It's 2 o'clock and they're not here yet. So we're just give us a little bit of time there. We're going to make sure the update in the screen. We'll be able to update our ticker and make sure it's all nice and clean. At that point there, we should start feeling pretty solid on where everything is. Let's go into the next screen. So on the county races, I mentioned this before. I says all we need to do is put in the green check mark. Both of these, it's Shannon Dykes and Ensign Mason. You know, they've done a wonderful job, and they will continue doing a wonderful job in our county here, no question. And and there are some other county races that we'll probably share with you, and some other races that at the 2 o'clock that we'll put up here that maybe some of the ones you didn't know. It's like, well, what happened to this guy? Or what happened to this guy? What happened to Jason Anderson? Well, Jason Anderson's the only one that ran. So and the same thing with Bob Dutton. Those were two that there was no competition against them, so they already took the seat. So there are some other seats out there we're going to look at that do influence the Mojave River Valley. So we'll take a look at those. So if we go to the next screen. So when we are talking about the times, remember we talked about before, the first posting was 8:30, and it actually came through right on time. The next one was at 10 o'clock, and it was pretty close. It was like right then. 12 o'clock came through just a minute afterwards, I believe it was, and we're expecting the 2 o'clock to be very similar to that. The only thing we have seen is that the amount of time after they do their post, the amount of time it takes to get updated to the state site is a little bit of a delay there. And that's why our next time we're going to do this will probably be at 2:30. So look for that time there, and we'll give you a wider wider update of the other races that maybe we haven't talked about tonight that were pretty much kind of done deals. So at least you have a feel for that. Thank you for watching. This is something that we're trying to do here because who else is doing this? We want to make sure we're fulfilling this need into the community here so that you get a chance to see what's happening in these elections. A lot of times you're depending on watching one of the big stations down below, and matter of fact, I was watching one of them earlier here, and they didn't even talk about any of the Inland Empire races at all. So it just shows you there's a little bit of a disconnect with us, and this is where we hopefully fill this in. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe and check the little bell. On Facebook, please go ahead and like us, give us a thumbs up and say, you know what, these guys are doing all right. And you know what, if you still have any questions, and there's maybe one or two more questions that we're going to try to figure out how to answer, send us an email to socialmedia@ciso.com, or send us a note on YouTube, or send us something on Facebook so we can answer that. I'm Eric Swanson. Thank you very much for watching. We're going to see you in a couple hours here, and we'll see where the numbers go at this point. My name's Eric Swanson, the Mojave River Valley News. We'll be back with you in a little bit.